YouTube. And in today's video, again, we are talking about what to do before you decide to big chop again, right? If you're struggling with your natural hair, I'm just here to tell you big chopping may not be the solution if you do not implement the things that we're going to go over in today's video. So if you are new to this live, let me explain how the outline goes. I normally go over my little spiel first, and then you all introduce yourself in the chat, and then I go over like the giveaway details. Then I check into the chat, and then we end. Like, then we done, okay? So we're just gonna jump right on into it. And I think the number one thing that people don't understand when they quote unquote return natural, right? I think the very thing they don't understand is that when you embark on this journey, you're going to have to learn new skills. Okay, in this community we talk a lot about like having like healthy habits, but I don't think we realize that habits create skills. And the reason why you're probably frustrated like with your natural hair, and you're kind of feeling stuck and not knowing like what direction to turn, that's because you're taking those old habits, those old skills. Let me say this correctly. You're taking those old skills that you have from old habits that you already have and trying to implement them on this new journey. And you can't do that, right? Like, just short and simple, you cannot do that. And this is the reason why, like, especially in the beginning, when you try like that first wash day with your natural hair, like, things don't go as planned. The frustration is definitely there, probably on a level 10, and that's because you haven't mastered the skill yet, or in this case you haven't built up that muscle to go through or learn, not go through, but first learn what a productive wash day looks like. Right now, I encourage you, if you need like that step-by-step direction of like what a natural hair wash day should look like, I want you to definitely check in the description box to this video here on YouTube. If you're on Instagram, you can definitely DM me the keyword wash day and I'll shoot you out that video. But my point is, you're taking those old skills and trying to implement them into a new category, and that just doesn't work. You have to build up that muscle first, okay? So I actually wrote down like some of the things, or some of the skills, 3 main skills that you need to have when you embark on this journey. But I want to first say this, right? Your feelings are valid, right? Like, not wanting to do like a long wash day, or not wanting to learn like a new skill, like, that is valid, and that is something you cannot control. I just want to put that out there, right? But what changes the game for you when it comes to this natural hair journey is your behavior after you acknowledge like that self-doubt, that not wanting to do, right? Feeling, right? Your behavior is what changes the game for you and those naturals who actually have like long, healthy hair, okay? So understand that developing a skill to truly take advantage of this journey, or not take advantage, but what am I looking for? To thrive in this journey, right? You have to understand there are going to be some things that you have to unlearn. Like, you just have to be comfortable with that. There are going to be many things that you're going to have to unlearn. And one is going to be that self-sabotaging thing that we have going on inside us, that self-doubting that's going on inside us, right? It is a skill. I want you guys to understand, it is a skill to tune out like that negative voice in your head and listen to the positive voice. Like, that doesn't happen overnight. That takes time, that takes practice, right? I just talked about the feeling of resistance, like not wanting to do something, right? I can give you exactly what you should do to grow your hair. What matters is if you do it, right? So it is also like, know that it is also a skill to push through something when you're not, or when you're feeling discouraged. And that's with anything in life. That's why I'm not just saying wash day, natural hair. I say something, right? When you embark on anything new in life, you have to push through that fear or through that discouragement to actually get better. Think about it. When we first learned how to walk, when your kids, you know, start walking, they don't succeed at the first try. They fall a couple of times. And it's the same thing with our natural hair. So be a little bit more patient with yourself if you don't get it on a second, first, third, fourth try, right? If you have already big chopped 3 or 4 times, that is okay. That only means that you don't have the skills necessary. The good news is that you can develop that skill, but you must have the discipline to push through. Okay? That is the key, like truly. Now, I wrote down here, pushing through something when you're feeling discouraged. I already went over that. It's called self-empowerment, right? And the final skill that I want to go over, because I feel like this is probably number one when it comes to embarking on this journey. It is a skill. You must develop the skill of being kind to yourself. We get so frustrated. We get so caught up in our head when we don't get instant gratification, right? Or instant results, right? You have to develop that skill of being kind to yourself. And I'm not just going to leave you there. I kind of want to give you a couple of tips before we end our live today on how to not beat yourself up. Because believe me, it doesn't help at all. I think the number one thing that you have to do when it comes to like being kind to yourself is truly get clear on the emotional connection that you want with your hair. And some people call this your why. I previously called it your the why on this channel here. But get clear with the emotional connection you want with your hair or yourself in general. Okay? Just wanting long natural hair is not enough, right? It is not enough to develop discipline. And I say discipline, not motivation, because motivation is not always going to be there. Now, if you need motivation with your natural hair, you definitely want to join us on Facebook, right? But my point is, we can motivate you, we can lift you up all we want to in Facebook, or, you know, if I do it on Instagram, or if I do it on YouTube, right? I can give you all the motivation you need. What matters is your discipline to actually get into action, right? So that's why I say you have to truly get clear on the emotional connection you want with your natural hair in order to spark discipline. Now, I'll share my emotional connection that I wanted with my natural hair. And actually, this applies more to like than hair with me personally, right? In the beginning, when I truly was seeking like long hair, and I wouldn't even say healthy because healthy was not even in my mind in the beginning. I just wanted long hair, right? But in the beginning, my true emotional connection that I wanted with myself was to be beautiful and be enough and feel worthy without modifying anything on my body. That's truly what I wanted, which is the reason why I do not come on camera wearing makeup. I mean, if you've been following this channel or this page, if you're on Instagram for some time now, you know that I come barefaced all the time. Now, that's not because I don't know how to do makeup. Well, I don't know how to do makeup, but I can learn is my point, right? But that's not because I'm not willing to learn. It's because now I'm comfortable, like fully comfortable in my own skin, regardless of how much I weigh. That is what I wanted in the beginning. That is what I have gotten to now, but I wouldn't have gotten here if I didn't know where I was going. Please let me know if that makes sense, right? You really have to identify. It could be something truly embarrassing that you don't want to lay out in front of other people. And I'm not asking you guys to like put that in the chat here at all. Like, that's not what I'm asking. But when you have time to yourself, get clear and honest with yourself. Like, what am I really going for, right? What does long natural hair really do for me? Like, how would that make me feel? And just identifying that feeling is going to help you develop the discipline. Because again, I can give you what you need to do. That part is simple. What's not simple is tuning out that negative voice in your head. What's not simple is feeling discouraged and not doing anything, right? That's the part that's not simple. That's the part that's mental. So, my last point is I would highly recommend that you narrow your focus and you join us other people in the present. Because a lot of times we get so caught in, if I only had long hair, I would feel so much better about myself. I can't wait till I get to that length. Well, how about you join me in the present, right? When you're feeling discouraged, I want you to ask yourself, what would happen if I do get up? How would I feel if I actually go through this wash day and not procrastinate? You get what I'm saying? Like, stop looking so far in the future and come back to the present. Focus on what's right in front of you. Okay? So the reason why I say narrow your focus is because a lot of times we do too much overthinking. Like, seriously, if you're overthinking this natural hair journey, you are intentionally making it hard on yourself. Harder than it needs to be. Like, seriously. I spoke I spoke about this in another live where I said sometimes you only need to worry about showing up. You don't need to worry about whether you're a high porosity natural or a low porosity natural, whether you have to use steam or not. You don't have to worry about your 20-step plan that you done made it up in your head or what's required for your hair. Like, you don't have to worry about those things. Just focus on showing up first, and then we'll go to point B, right? So narrow your focus, because if it is like a long list of obligations in your head, you're going to feel paralyzed. You're going to not do anything. Focus on showing up. Come back to the present. Ask yourself, what would happen if I go through this wash day? My point is, you have to change in your mind the feeling of obligation to your wash day, or feeling obligated, that's probably the better way to say that, to something that you look forward to doing, to a hobby that you enjoy, to something that sparks curiosity. Because if it's an obligation, you're going to drag your feet. So you need to make that mental mind shift of something that you actually look forward to. That is the reason why a lot of us who actually take this journey to a different level, love natural hair products. Like, we have to have something to look forward to trying out a new product. I mean, that eventually turns into an addiction, but not my point. My point is, you have to find something in that routine that keeps your interest, that makes you want to get up, right? Something that you're going to look forward to. So that is my spiel for you guys. If you're thinking about big chopping again, I want you to understand that you're not doing anything necessarily wrong. Your hair is not the worst grain of hair in this world. That just means that you need to develop the necessary skills for this journey. That is all that means. Probably more mental than anything, right? You need to understand that you're taking your old skills from old habits and you're applying them to your natural hair. Uh-oh, sorry YouTube or Instagram. All right, sorry Instagram. But you need to understand that you're taking old habits, old skills from old habits and, you know, putting them on this new journey. And that's the reason why it's not working for you. That is it, okay? I encourage you to really get clear on the emotional connection that you want with your natural hair. You don't have to share it with anybody, but you gotta know. Like, having long natural hair, how would that make you feel? What is that feeling that you're truly craving? Okay, and then once you identify that feeling that you want, I want you to join us back in the present, okay, and narrow your focus. Focus on one thing at a time. Do not have a long laundry list in front of you, and that is going to change your results. All right, people, so I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. But just big chopping because you don't like where you are will not give you different results if you don't change a couple of things on your second or third or fourth time around. And maybe you don't need to big chop again. Maybe you can implement these tips now before you cut your hair off. All right. So before we go to these comments, I just want to say, if you are participating in our giveaways for 2022, definitely check in the description box below if you need details about that. But definitely leave your purple heart, one, so that I know that you was here. If you are on the live with us on YouTube, you can leave your purple heart in the live chat. If you are on Instagram, please come back to the replay and comment on the video and leave your purple heart with your comment. Again, if you do not know what I'm talking about, you can see the details to the giveaways for 2022 in the description box below. Also, if you're on Instagram, you can just DM me the keyword giveaways, and then I'll send you those giveaway details. Okay, I just want to remind you guys of that. Quick update before we go to the chat. As far as the giveaways go, I will no longer be recording the entries and then uploading them to IG stories. I will just be responding with a purple heart to let you know that your entry got recorded, only because it's time consuming and it's taken away from time that I spend in the comments with you all. So especially because, you know, the entries have increased, like the number of people have increased who are, you know, participating in the giveaway. So it takes time to do like that extra stuff. So you will not see that in IG stories anymore. However, I definitely will respond to you and let you know that you or that your entry got recorded, and I will thank you for your time, of course. And last but not least, last week I announced that the live schedule has changed. Just had a brain fog there. The live schedule has changed. We are now going live twice a month. That is the first and the last Sunday of each month. So we went live last Sunday and we're live today for the first Sunday of April. So happy April. And let's go to these comments, you guys. Let me pull up my screen here on YouTube first. And then we'll go to IG. So just so you all know, while my computer is loading here, the winner for March will be announced tomorrow. Okay, I am like doing all the cutting up and everything tonight to drop everybody's name in the jar, and then I'm going to pull a name tomorrow, and I'll announce that, of course, on IG stories and then on the YouTube community tab. So if you're joining me on YouTube, that is where you will locate it. So let's go to Instagram first with comments. We have 7 people on Instagram. Welcome, beautiful people. Everybody's waving. That is what's up. All right. Wash day video, please. Yes, if you can just like DM me wash day video, and then I'll send it to you. Once I close this live on Instagram, I'm not going to see that chat, and I'm not going to remember. I mean, that request, and I'm not going to remember. Hey, Eddie. Let's see. Okay, also DM me the keyword giveaways. Username BBK0713. If I knew your name, I would say it right. But DM me those keywords, giveaways, and wash day, and then I will definitely send you that information. And I'm so happy that this information was helpful. I am excited to hear that. I'm here for all tips. My daughter's natural hair is long and thick and dry. So you can DM me Faith and Love 718. You can DM me dry, the keyword dry, and then I'll send you a video to help you with moisturizing your daughter's natural hair, because I feel like a lot of times, especially when I was a newly natural, I didn't properly moisturize my hair, and I feel like that's probably the #1 key that a lot of people skip. We have to do the cortex layer of our hair strands and then the cuticle layer of our hair strand. 2 layers that we have to moisturize when it comes to like maintaining like moisture with natural hair. And I think a lot of people just miss that, because I sure did. Okay, took her to the salon and the lady was so rough. Oh, she doesn't want to go back there. I'm so sorry that your daughter had that experience. I understand, because I've definitely been there. And I think it's best to learn, like you and her learn her hair by yourselves, because then you know what to do. Like, you don't have to rely on a third person to care for your hair. God say something, happen, or God forbid that something happened to her and she's not available, then what do? You get what I'm saying? So I feel like it's probably best to learn your natural hair yourself, first, even if you do go to salons, just for anybody, because you don't want to put the health of your hair in another person's hands. So yes, if you DM me the keyword dry, I would definitely shoot you some information, like step by step of what you can do to solve that dryness. That way you can watch it with your daughter too, and hopefully, if you guys have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But hopefully you guys are like, on the same page as far as like caring for her hair. All right, so let's go to the YouTube comments. Hi everyone. Hey Lisa. Hey Miss Hill. All right, let's see. Everybody's saying hello. So true. I was talking. So sorry I missed that so true part. I love hair wash days because my hair is so easy to care for. This is my second big chop and I have 4C hair. And you know what, Lisa? I think we don't know what we don't know in the beginning, right? especially if you're coming from like a relaxed texture. They say the saying is that natural hair is just so hard to care for. You know, it's so difficult. But once you learn like the basic things that your hair needs, like the foundation things that your hair needs, maintaining and managing natural hair is not all that hard. It is time consuming. I didn't say it wasn't time consuming, but it's not hard, right? But you have to understand what you're doing first before you judge, you know, having natural hair. Connecting to your why to the emotional connection to develop discipline. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Having long natural hair is just not enough. It's not. Right? I mean, think about it. Like, that's with any journey, right? You just cannot want to be skinny, right? You have to understand why you want to get there to remain consistent with it. So, absolutely. See a lot of good purple hearts here. I big chop once to grow my edges. It didn't work, and I'm beginning to understand why. Yes. And you know, another like misleading thing or misconception within our community, and you know, I get a lot of pushback from this, and I'm okay with that. Like, seriously, I'm okay with that. Is cutting our hair makes our hair grows faster. And it doesn't. It doesn't. I want you all to understand, when your hair grows out of your scalp, right? The ends of your hair. This hair is dead. And when something is dead, it no longer like grows. Only the tip, only the root that's connected to the actual scalp is alive. But once that hair strand leaves that scalp, it's dead. So that's why we don't feel any pain when we cut our hair, okay? Cutting our hair definitely helps with split ends, definitely helps with weathered ends, definitely helps with retaining our hair. But cutting our hair does not make our hair grow, right? It does not. It doesn't spark growth, is my point, okay? Now, that's the literally technical side of like hair, right? The hair science. The other side to that is, if you big chop and you still have the same habits in place, nothing's going to change. You have to develop a different skill set, right? Or else you're going to tackle your natural hair just like you did before, and you're going to still have the same struggles. So you have to change both of those things. I mean, not both of those things, but not change both of those things, but view both of those things. Like, before you big chop, just understand that you cutting your hair is not going to spark massive growth. Like, it's not, right? You cutting your hair, if you still have the same mindset, the same skill set, it's not going to change your results unless you change that first. Okay? Let me know if that makes sense. I probably was a little tongue twisted with that, like I am on every live. But again, I am so comfortable in my, this is side note, I'm so comfortable in my skin, and I'm so blessed, and I'm so grateful for that, where I don't care how I talk on screen. Like, I know I have a problem with my like vocabulary, but that's not gonna stop me from going live. You get what I'm saying? Y'all just gonna have to deal with my grammar school vocabulary. That's just what it is, and I'm okay with that, right? So that's why I say identify that emotional connection you want with yourself, period. Because sometimes it's a little bit more than just about hair, but identify that, work on that, get to that level, and believe me, like, hair, like I said, insecurity with like talking or whatever your insecurity is will not matter, will no longer be an issue for you, right? A lot of times people ask me on social media, like when am I going to straighten my hair? And I shared on a previous video that in the beginning of my journey, when I was struggling with my natural hair, I used to always press my hair before I went to like a event. I no longer do that. Like, this is what you get. Like, if you want my hair done, like, or out, because I consider this done. Don't give me, this is done to me, right? But if you want my hair out, you need to give me at least 3 days in advance, or I'm showing up with a hat. And I'm okay with either one. Like, I'm okay with it. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I say, get comfortable with who you are. Because once you're there, nothing else matters. Or whatever emotional connection you want with yourself. Okay, sorry about that. I seen a squirrel. Let's see. I'm glad I came because I do big chop when things don't go my way. Yes, absolutely. It's mental. It is so mental. Or because I think it's going to change things. Gotta change that mentality. Yes, absolutely. You just said it. We on the same page. The TGI leave-in has silicone, so do I need a sulfate containing shampoo to wash my hair? So you may. What TGI leave-in are you using? I know the TGI, I'll double check. I might be wrong though. I might be wrong, but I use the rose water in her original line, and I don't feel a need to clarify my hair. But if you feel like your hair is not responding, meaning if your hair is not accepting products, if products are not penetrating, you know, your hair strands, you may need to clarify, because that could be, you know, a film over your strands, silicones that's blocking moisture from penetrating your strands. So I would go off the feel of your hair versus just saying, you know, this product has silicones. That's a great starting place. Don't get me wrong, but also go off the feel of your hair. Okay? Let me know if that makes sense. Just what's a polyquad shampoo and how do I recognize it in the ingredients? I don't understand your question, sis. I really don't understand. I don't understand your question. Sis, I'll message you directly because I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. I don't know if you're asking how do you recognize, you know, whether it's a silicone ingredient or not, but I'll direct message you because I'm not sure what you're asking. I'm sorry. My hair is always hard and I don't know if it's because I let my hair dry without stretching it. Hard means dry. It definitely does mean that. Dry means you need more moisture. So I would say there's a video that I did that's titled your hair game would change if you understand this, right? And if you comment on the regular video, I'll tag you or I'll send that video to you. If you comment on the replay, that's what I'm trying to say. If you comment on the replay, I'll send that video to you. But when it comes to solving the issue with dryness, which is probably like the #1 cause of breakage, especially with natural hair, you have to understand that you have to hydrate your strands first before you moisturize your strands. And a lot of times when we're, you know, feeling like our hair is dry, like the second or third, fourth day after wash day, like really fast, it's because our hair is probably not hydrated enough. Okay, so what do I mean by that? When you hydrate your strands, you want to use products that are intended to penetrate the hair strand. For example, deep conditioners, hair masks, right? You want to use some type of steam to help lift your cuticle layer of your hair strands to allow that product in to the cortex layer of the hair strand. Now, if what I'm saying to you goes over your head, like, please message me and I'll send you a video, you know, that would explain what I'm talking about in a little bit more details than what I can give you on today's video. And I actually show illustrations in those videos of what I'm explaining today. Okay? But going back to my example, if your hair is not hydrated, right, your strands are going to break off because what you're not doing is you're not hydrating that cortex layer of the hair strand. The hair strand has 3 layers, okay? Most people have 2, which is the reason why I only focus on 2. But we have a cortex layer that we want to focus on. That's the core, right? The foundation of the hair strand, right? And then there's the cuticle layer of the hair strand that we have to moisturize. Now, if that foundation is not properly moisturized, the strand is going to snap regardless of what you do to that cuticle layer, right? And oftentimes when we're losing a lot of moisture really, really fast, it's because that cortex layer is not hydrated. Okay, again, if this is going over your head, I understand it went over my head in the beginning, which is why I made a video about it. Just send me a message and I will send you that detailed video. So it doesn't have nothing to do with technically stretching your hair. I mean, you can stretch your hair if you want, but if your hair is dry, like, stretching it is not going to solve the issue. Okay, hydrating it, moisturizing it properly will solve the issue for your dryness. Okay, let's go back to Instagram. Just make sure that we haven't missed anything. And then we're done. Do you believe you need to go to a salon for trims? How often should you trim? Okay, so my unpopular opinion about trimming. Woo! Y'all ready? Okay, so I haven't had my hair trimmed in 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. Again, because trimming our ends doesn't spark growth. Has nothing to do with growth. Okay? Yes, you should have regular trims, even though I haven't been in 7 years. However, what I do is I dust my ends. So whenever I run into split ends, because I'm really up and close and personal with my hair. Best to believe I am. But when I'm running into split ends, when I'm running into single strand knots, I dust, meaning I cut that knot off. I cut that weathered end off right away to prevent further splitting up the hair strand. Okay, so you all see my hair now is kind of twisted up, which is probably, this is how I wear my hair off camera. You wouldn't know that my hair is uneven because it's always curly. So a lot of times when people get their hair trimmed, it's because they want that uniform, like, layered, really pretty look, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, by all means, if you want that, go ahead, right? But because I personally don't require that even look to my hair, I don't get my hair trimmed, and that's just what it is. So yes, it is important to have regular trims if you want that uniform look. However, it is not required. It's not required. You do need to dust your ends though. Like, you definitely want to take off any damaged ends. So don't confuse what I'm saying here. You don't need it. Okay, great. Thank you for sending me those keywords. I see your request. Don't confuse that you don't need to cut off damaged ends. You do need to do that. However, you don't need a trim, like a full trim. Like, that's not required to grow your hair. Do I rinse out the oil when doing the lock method? No. When you're doing the lock method, you're moisturizing your hair, so you don't want to rinse it out. The only time you want to rinse out an oil is like if you're doing like a hot oil treatment, right? That's like before or after deep conditioning. Once I send you that wash day video, you'll understand the order of wash day. But if you're doing the lock method, the LOC method, don't rinse out the oil. You can keep the oil in there. The only thing that I would tell you is that don't go heavy on oil, right? Sometimes you'll find with a lot of natural hair products that the cream, that the leave-in have enough oil already in, you know, the actual product, and you don't need an additional layer of oil, right? That's the other thing I feel like we do a lot, and I'm guilty of this, of course, at the beginning of my journey. But we're really heavy-handed with our products, and we don't need to be. Less is more, in my opinion. But, you know, you will learn that as you go along in your journey. Hey, Chris. Is rice water good for hair growth? Rice water is an extra step. It is not something that you need. It is absolutely not something that you need. I tried rice water probably 3 times out of going on 8 years of me being natural. You don't need it. It's an extra step. Okay? It's up to you whether you want to do it. But in my opinion, if you're struggling, you want to keep things simple. Don't overthink this journey. Like, don't do that. I would prefer you spend that energy working on your mindset versus trying to do all these steps in a wash day routine. Because this is what matters, like, the most. Okay, spend that energy here. You don't need to do all that extra stuff. If you want to do it, do it. Like, it's not gonna kill you, right? By all means, go do it. My point is, if you're struggling, stop overthinking. That's my point. Focus, like, narrow your focus. Okay, focus on showing up. Focus on doing, like, the necessary steps. Don't overcomplicate it, because once you do, you're going to feel paralyzed. You're not going to want to do anything. So narrow your focus. You don't need rice water, honey. I didn't, and I'm okay. I am okay. All right, back to the YouTube comments. I big chopped in about September 2021. My hair hasn't grown much. I haven't had a trim. 4C hair. Did I read that one already? When I wash, gel, and sometimes leave in, it takes all day to dry. What can I do besides add oil to get my hair to dry faster? When I use a hooded dryer, it still takes longer, but I don't care for the look. Any suggestions? How long does your hair take to dry? Is it more than a day? Is it more than a day? Or, in my head, I'm asking myself, like, what is the expectation that you have in your head of how long your hair should dry? Because it could be that your expectation is off. That's why I'm asking. But you could have hair that just takes longer to dry. Now, me personally, it takes, I wouldn't say 24 hours. I mean, and it really just depends on, like, how I style my hair after wash day. Because if I have it twisted like this and, you know, the inner strands are blocked from, like, air, you know, those are not going to dry, right? These outer layer strands will dry, but I would say it take at least 10 hours because I air dry for my hair to dry. And I just wear it, like, off my clothes so that, you know, I'm just not wet. I don't use a dryer, but in my head, I'm asking myself, what is the expectation of how long you want your hair to dry? And then I'll address that question, because I don't know how to answer that question just yet. How do you know you need to dust your ends or trim your hair? Queen, if you put that comment on, like, the replay, I'll send you a video on how to dust your ends and how to tell. But the obvious sign would be like you feel a knot, like a single strand knot on the end of your hair. You can actually feel like a difference in the hair strand. Like if you start at the top and you just gently glide down your strands to your end, the ends will feel rougher than like the root or like their mid length, right? The roughness come from like damaged cuticles just not being able to like lay flat, right? So you will feel the roughness. Now, if you just go off dusting like I do, I go off the feel of my hair. Once you feel that roughness, you know where to cut, okay? As far as trimming goes, if you trim like a group of strands, you'll be able to see through the ends of the hair. Like they'll be thinner. And that's where you know where to cut. Now, whether you cut evenly or not is going to be your problem, okay? But that is how, like, that's the obvious sign, okay? Should I be asking on IG, what's your handle? So I'm at Jerry Johnson on IG also, and you can directly message me on IG. And yes, we can do that, because I feel like that's a conversation that we need to have. Absolutely. Question. When I rake through my hair pops like I can hear it snap. Now, if you can hear your hair snap, that means it's snapping. And that's because of the lack of moisture or the lack of protein. Because I have breakage as well, and I have never had breakage. So if you are snapping off your ends, which is our elders is what we call it, like the oldest part of the hair strands or your hair strands, right? Those are a lot more fragile than like the root of your hair, okay? So what I would suggest is that you put a lot more moisture or give those ends a lot more TLC, because they're probably dry and brittle. Some ends have to come off because, you know, they just ready to go, right? But if you find that it's unnecessary breakage, it's because it's just probably not hydrated and moisturized, okay? If you hear your hair snapping, just anybody in general, if you hear your hair snapping, that's because it's snapping. That's because it's breaking off. And that's not a good thing. So in our community, we have what's called like the baggy method, where you would literally just deep condition like the ends of your hair. You'll put these bags and tie them here, you know, whatever your preference is, just to give your ends a little bit more TLC, because again, they're the eldest. You can do that if you feel like it's like unnecessary breakage. But you have to determine whether it's time for those ends to go, because, you know, it's just time. That's just the cycle of life, right? Or if it's unnecessary, you can do it with the bagging method. Because I can guarantee you the number one reason why they're snapping is because they're not properly hydrated or moisturized. And because they're older, right, it requires a lot more than what the root of our hair strands requires. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay, getting my ends trimmed in its natural state doesn't work for me. I don't think nobody should get their ends trimmed in a natural state. Absolutely not. Like just cutting your hair when it's shrunken, you should not do that at all. For myself, I have to get my hair straightened and get it, okay, trimmed every 3 or 4 months. Again, I feel like that's totally your call. Like, especially if you go to a salon and you want like an even, uniform look, the only way they can, you know, trim your ends is with it straightened. If you don't go to, you know, a curly hair salon, that's the traditional routine. Thank you for sharing, sis. I have not tried that brand for shedding. I'm sorry, sis. I don't know. I have no clue. So here's the thing with this channel. I don't speak on a lot of topics that I don't experience myself. And that's because I never want to mislead you all. So I haven't had a problem with shedding in years. So that is probably the reason why you all haven't seen any content from me about like shedding. Like, I mean, excessive shedding. Like, we all shed hair, and I think that's another thing that we have to change in our mind. Shedding is something that we can't necessarily control because it happens internally, right? Like, there's not one hack that we can do to stop our shedding completely. And I would go as far as like using one brand to stop shedding. Like, that problem has to be solved by what's going on with your health. Like, that is a health issue that has to be corrected. It's not necessarily a hair product that you have to use in order to stop shedding. And they use that as a marketing technique to get you to buy the product. But I just want to let you know, if you're having excessive shedding, that is a health issue that you need to correct first before you can solve that problem. It's not a brand that you can use that's going to solve that issue for you. So I hope that helps. Okay. If you are, yes, please do upload a picture to our Facebook group so I can help you in a little bit more detail. All right. Y'all came through with the questions today. Seriously. Okay, no more questions on Instagram, no more questions on YouTube. So you guys, just remember, when it comes to like big chopping again, or like just being frustrated like in your natural hair journey, reach out like to our community. Reach out to me, especially if you are connected to us on Facebook. Like, post your concerns, post your questions, post your struggles. Let us know if you do not feel like washing your hair. Again, your feelings can't it's not something you can control. Like, your feelings are valid, right? The only thing that you have to focus on is what your behavior looks like after you acknowledge that feeling, right? Like, that self-awareness is so huge when it comes to like having long natural hair. And then tap into that emotional connection that you want to have with your hair, because again, motivation is not going to always be there, right? To help you continue on with your discipline, or develop that discipline, or have that discipline, kick in at a time where you're just not up to it, right? So that's my spiel. Is the replay after this video ends? Yes, the replay will be posted to the YouTube channel after I end the live. Yes, 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 yes. I've been trying to grow my hair back. I've been trying to grow back my edges, so it is too much manipulation adding water, oil, and daily massages to those sensitive areas. Oh, is it too much? So this is my take. This is my take. Okay, Ms. Butterfly. When you're trying to grow back your edges or your hair period, right? You don't need to do the extra with like massaging your scalp. You can. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. So I say that to say, if this area is sensitive for you, because everybody is different, don't massage your hair, right? Or don't massage your edges. Just keep it moisturized and keep it hydrated. When I am stressed, I mean extremely stressed to the point where like I am getting like sensitive spots in my scalp, right? The only thing that I do is spray my hair with water, put a little leave-in conditioner on it, and then I leave it alone. Because what I don't want to do is snap those strands. And not because I'm being rough with my hair, it's because that part of my scalp is tender. So I leave it alone. So I would say, if that area for you is tender, just spray it with water, put some leave-in conditioner on it, and let it be until that area is not tender for you anymore. Okay? What you do is your call, but I wouldn't massage. I wouldn't massage a sensitive area. Like, I wouldn't. I would leave it alone. I truly would. Oh, that was my other point. When it comes back to growing edges, treat your edges just how you treat the rest of your hair, okay? If you do not pull too tightly here, don't pull too tightly there. You all may know or may not know, I have one edge video on my channel, and that, or caring for edges video on my channel, and that's because I treat my hairline and my nape area just like I do the rest of my hair. I don't pull any tension, I don't swoop anything, and that's because it's just it's unnecessary. It's so unnecessary, which is why I preach a lot about working on your mindset with your natural hair. Because once you get it up here that you do not need the extra baby hairs, you will be okay without it. Like, you wouldn't even think about it. This is not something I even think about. Like, I don't have a separate edge care routine. And that's because I treat all this the same. You understand what I'm saying? So, I hope that helps. I hope that helps. I really do. But no, I will not massage anything that's sensitive. No, ma'am. Okay. Yes. Beauty and 4C says massaging edges could be extremely damaging. Absolutely. Okay, guys. We are good. Y'all are so awesome. Y'all just do not know how much I appreciate the comments today. Y'all made me think, y'all made me over explain, and I love it. Like, I absolutely love the engagement. If you all need anything else, please do not hesitate to reach out to me personally. If it takes me time to respond to you, please know I'm going to respond. I respond to every email. I respond to every request. I respond to every DM. It takes me a little bit of time because of the number of people who I have to respond to. So forgive me for that. But I do respond to every single request. Even if I cannot help you, I will tell you, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Okay? So I respect you guys. I love you guys. And I am out of here. I'm actually about to go on my walk. I have been fasting for not a couple of days now, but I've been on a fasting journey, and I can just feel my energy like, okay, you need to get outside. You need to get outside. All right, guys, don't forget, if you are participating in the giveaway, leave your purple heart. Come back to the replay, comment, leave your purple heart there so that I do not miss it. And I'm out. I thank you guys for coming on the live with me, and I will see you on the last Sunday of April. Okay? Have a great day, beautiful people. So DM me Facebook, Miss Simmons, and I'll send you the group to join us on Facebook. Okay? DM me the keyword Facebook, and I'll definitely have you. All right, YouTube, we're gonna end you